I got arrested for threatening Grady Hendrix at the Paperbacks from Hell.
Are you?
I drink till the night becomes another day, and the day's just another little thing in our way. There's something about the way you beat me down that I'll never learn. You're the pint of no return, the pain in my chest, the stain on your dress, the glass in my eye. But this life is a joke, and death is the punch. I
Mothers of Mayhem!
Beep, 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 kids. Hi.
Beep.
Hello. Welcome to Mothers of Mayhem, an extreme horror podcast. Last night we did the stupidest thing. Well, one of the stupidest things that the United States of America likes to do, which is celebrate daylight savings time. Because it is the end of winter, we did our celebratory spring forward, which means we lost an hour of sleep last night. And even though that doesn't seem like that big of a deal, it will literally make everyone in this country stupid as fuck for at least the next 3 weeks.
Yes.
Yes. Especially today.
Oh, we're like at 0. Maybe I could say 1% today.
Oh yeah. I haven't made a decent joke all day.
Yeah.
And
it's a story of our lives. I think it's finally come to be that people are going to be like, they're not funny. And we're going to be like, we've been fucking telling you that the entire time. You dumb. It's like, now it's right in front of you. And now you have to come to terms with it. So we'll start a support group for people who thought we were funny, but come to find out we're really not. And, we meet on Wednesdays.
Yeah. Let's be stupid together forever, Christina. Forever. See, we're already off to a great start.
We're just,
and
we have such a great guest. Like,
I know we have a fantastic guest today.
I recorded with him, and I do not understand technology, so whatever. If anybody knows how to make an iPad actually record audio, that would be great. Let me know. And I swear to Christ, if you say Google it, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna pay out of my fucking savings, come to your house and punch you in the face, because I've already done
anything on YouTube.
Tried it. I've tried everything. I have literally tried everything. So I'm like, whatever. But we have Frank Edler.
It is. We have Frank Edler.
I'm so excited. He is the coolest guy. Like,
I can't wait to meet him.
Yeah, we had so much fun, and it's just, unfortunately. So we're gonna do it again. You heard.
I heard that Frank Edler is actually the real life inspiration for Doc Brown from Back to the Future.
For once in my life with you, I cannot tell you that you're wrong.
I knew it.
Yeah.
See, honestly, I've been right about everything this whole time. You're just finally coming to understand that.
There's a lot of epiphanies today. Like, we're not funny, and you've been right all along. So this is a gotcha type of episode today.
Yeah. I heard that he actually has a flux capacitor in the pool house behind his home.
Again, I cannot deny that.
I knew it.
Yeah. Because if people don't know, Frank Edler is Bizarro.
Oh, so he's Bizarro to the max. He is the king of Bizarro.
So yeah, I can't deny any of this, because it could all be fact. Would you like to know a little bit of fake news on him?
Yeah, tell me all of the fake Frank Edler news.
Okay, so fake news. He was the host of his own podcast, BIZZONGA.
Yes, BIZZONGA, which just ended.
It did. It ended in, I believe, January. He did it from 2016 to this year. He has had some amazing guests on BIZZONGA, and I did not know about some of these. He's had CV Hunt, John Skip, Jeff Burke, Jeff Strand, Ben Arzate, John Wayne Commonali,
Wow.
Grady Hendrix.
Shut up.
Are you ready for this one? Simon McCarty.
How very absolute dare. Not to Frank Edler, because Frank Edler
it's an amazing interview.
Is an extraordinary man, and I love him. But how dare you, Simon McCarty? How very dare you say no to the Mothers of Mayhem when we now know you went on a podcast with Frank Edler. Tell him.
I don't know what to tell them.
Tell him how very dare.
How dare you do that?
How dare you do that, Simon McCarty?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But what's really cool is the interview was amazing. I listened to it and I took so many notes from it to follow up for my written review or my written interview. And then I sent it to him. I was these are some of the questions.
Written interview my ass, Simon McCarty. You're going to get on camera or on microphone and speak to Frank Edler, but you won't get on microphone with fucking Marian and Christina.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, you won't.
Oh, no, you won't. We are offended.
I'm not, but Marian is.
Oh,
it takes a lot to offend me.
I'm so offended. I'm usually the one being either offensive or laughing at other people's offendedness.
But that's
right
me today.
now.
Yeah, that's me today.
I'm offended. Clark is offended. I'm offended.
Maybe the dog. I don't know.
My fucking cat is offended. How is offended. He got up and left.
Ooh. Yeah. But he also had Aaron Beauregard, Daniel Volpe, Rose O'Keefe. He's had like a ton of people.
You know what? That really doesn't surprise me because Frank Edler is highly respected in our community. Like he's one of the most respected human beings in the indie horror.
And definitely earned like
that. Oh my gosh. He's one of the originals. But I think, we should honestly be putting Frank Edler up there with Ed Lee and CM3 and Brian Keane and Wrath James White. Like Frank should be there, but where Frank is different is Frank was Bizarro. Mm-hmm. Frank is the father of Bizarro, and where CM3, did a lot of like splatterpunky stuff with his Bizarro. I feel like Frank is really just a lot more like straight cartoony Bizarro. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why he's not been pulled into that little subset of the guys that we consider to be like the grandpapas of indie horror.
That's kind of good.
And that's right. I said it. Grandpapas.
And that's actually kind of good, in my opinion, because some of the oldie moldies, that's what I'm going to call them.
The moldy oldies.
Right?
We should not say that because Carlton Mellick actually just friended me on Facebook today, and I don't want him to unfriend me immediately.
He's been on my friends list for like 10 years or something.
Shut up. Shut up.
It's okay.
He just friended me today. Now I'm extra offended.
I know. God,
Grady
it is
Hendrix,
offend Marian.
Grady Hendrix, if you're listening to this, I sent you a fucking friend request like 4 months ago and you haven't accepted my friend request yet. So just wait till I see you at AuthorCon in 2 weeks. Actually, the weekend, this thing is airing. This will probably air the week after AuthorCon. So I'll let y'all know how it went. I'll give y'all an update.
Marian is in her feelings
You might want
today.
to check the Facebook group over
Marian's in
whether
her
or not
feelings today, people.
I got arrested for threatening Grady Hendrix at the Paperbacks from Hell.
Are you ready for this?
No.
Are you ready for this? I
I'm
own
not ready for anything.
all but one of his books, and I've never read him.
Grady Hendrix?
Mhm.
I also
I own all of them.
Well, no.
Except for Final Support Girls.
No, I have that one. The ones that I don't have are We Sold Our Souls, and I just have absolutely no interest in Southern Book Club.
I want to tell you my best friend's Exorcism and the other one that you haven't read.
My best friend's Exorcism is
they're on
Chef's
Audible
Kiss.
for free.
They are Chef's Kiss. That book is Chef's Kiss. So if you haven't, this is a great opportunity to go to Audible and get it for free and listen because it's amazing. But of all the Grady Hendrix, and I have read all of them except We Sold Our Souls and
that one's free on Audible too.
Guide to Slaying Vampires because I don't freaking care. Final Girl Support Group's one of my favorite books from last year.
Really?
I did not include it in my top 10 because I do not it's not indie. It's not indie in any way. Why is he even coming to AuthorCon? I don't know. But
because he's an author?
Because he can do whatever he wants.
Right.
It really was one of my favorite books from last year. I
just
loved it.
Like I had Horror Store. I had Horror Store or whatever, and I gave it away. I was just like,
hated it. I hated it. It is boring as shit. The book
I like
itself
the
has a lot
concept.
of novelty. And the concept, I was like, this is going to be amazing. I fucking love Grady Hendrix. He's so great. The book has a lot of kitsch. It has a lot of novelty to it that makes it super rad. The story is boring as fuck. I DNF'd it. I DNF'd it. And my sister was going to order it. And I was like, don't. Like the book looks cool and it's fun to have it on your shelf. But you're not going to have a good time reading it. You're going to be bored to tears.
I think that one's free on Audible too. Now, when I say free on Audible, I don't mean that like any body can go. You have to be a subscriber, and I think you have to be like the one. I don't know the tiers because I just do the 24 credits a year because I have to. But get smart, people. When you do the credits like that, wait until they do 2-for-1 sales.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
So then you double it for 24 to 48 and you got 48 new books for the year.
Hey, that's not a bad idea. I have Audible and I have to say I don't use it as often as I should. What have you read recently? I've been terrible at reading this week. I'm just going to be honest.
I read The Sexual Avenger, book 1 by Matt Vaughn. It is a very interesting take on superheroes and 3-foot penises and characters named Pam the Ham. So it's a very quick one. I think it's like maybe 14 pages around there.
Just to interject real quick,
yes,
for those of you who are not watching on YouTube, you did hear the voice of my son Clark, who is 6 and is still sitting next to me. And even though I'm wearing headphones, he legit heard Christina say 3-foot penises and he was shook.
Yeah, sorry Clark. I apologize. All hateful comments need to go to Matt Vaughn, not me. And then let's keep with the Matt Vaughn. Let's keep with Matt Vaughn.
I love his Mephistopheles Den.
That's on my list. But I started his 30 minutes or less series. Yes. Is I will never order another pizza.
I have it in my
it's a quick one too.
Phone.
I think maybe 30, 35 pages, something like that. And then Gods of the Dark Web by Lucas Mangum. Baby stew.
I really want to read
Baby
that
stew.
one. Baby stew. You told me that's the one you were already telling me about. Yes, I have it. As soon as you told me about it, I got it and I loaded it into my Kindle. I already told Christina off camera. I literally, like, every time somebody is like, have you read I'm like, it's in my Kindle. I loaded it into my Kindle. I have something like over 75 books that I have not yet read in my Kindle library.
We cannot talk about the 400 I have in my Kindle library that I've not read.
Okay. All right. That makes me feel better.
And
Now,
that's not, guys, that's not physical books. That's not audio books. That's just straight ebooks. And I haven't switched over my Godless buys since December. So that's probably going to add to it.
I'm also have some Godless buys I haven't pulled into my Kindle yet, and I can't even remember what they are.
I'm probably going to break files. I'm probably going to break about $3.50 on Godless titles because But
you know what? If you're going to,
they're like 50 cents. How can you say no?
Well,
like, that's just.
And that's the thing. If you're going to put $350 into any book distributor, for Christ's sake, people, let it be Godless, because like Christina
and I'm going to be honest,
they're 50 fucking cents. That's 700 books for 300.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I did not even come close to paying $3.50 for all of those. There's no way.
No. Absolutely
no way.
Not. Stop mocking me, boy. My son's like being a dick.
This episode is just
so far so good. Absolutely. Yeah. So one that I want to talk about is a book that I read that I haven't had a chance to really discuss yet. And this is by Andre Duza, who is an author who actually lives like an hour from me, which is cool. Amazing. Hopefully I will have a chance to meet him at convention at some point, but legit like only an hour from me towards Philly. This book is called would you stop it?
Marian's about ready to
sorry
be your child.
This book is called Don't Bleep with the Colors. And first of all, I want to tell you Andre Duza is an African-American writer. So that is the title that he gave this book, which I think is meant to be somewhat like eyebrow raising purposefully.
Oh, yeah.
Also, y'all need to Google a picture of Andre Duza. This man, he's like, he's like Terry, what's his face from like this guy's
Crews.
Chuck
Cruz?
Yes, Terry Crews. He's like Chuck as hell. This guy is like beefed. He's like a stunt man. Like I legit think he works in the movie industry. I know that. I think he's a real life stunt man. He's like nothing. He's like Wesley Snipes. This dude's probably got like 7% body fat. The first time I saw him, I was like, you could kill people with your bare hands. But he also writes amazing bizarro. Yeah. Brilliant bizarro this guy writes. And if you're going to start getting into his books, I cannot say enough about Don't Bleep with the Colors. So I'm a huge Who Framed Roger Rabbit fan. This takes Who Framed Roger Rabbit and really spins it on its heels and takes it to this ultra violent socio-cultural commentary level where humans and cartoons are coexisting in the same universe, but cartoons really are looked upon as just like a low level culture. And they're segregated and they're used as servants, service workers. You can see where we're going with this. It's a very similar, they are a minority population and they are treated that way. And they have, because they are animation, their cartoons, they have the ability, they discover, to basically consume and take over the bodies of humans using their paint, which is their essence, and they can weaponize this. And so they start, basically they revolt.
Interesting.
It is ultra violent. The commentary is just like, on
Perfection.
point. His writing is brilliant. It's brilliant. I really hope I get a chance to meet this guy at some point. We live so close. I don't know if he listens to the podcast, but if you do, Andre Duza, you're fucking rad. This was a great book. I haven't had a chance to TikTok it yet, and I really should, because this is one I think everybody should read.
I actually, because every once in a while I'll get on Godless and just start perusing and seeing who I don't know. And he was actually one that I did see. He's an actor, stuntman, screenwriter, and a author or co-author of 10 novels, a graphic novel, and a Star Trek comic book.
Yeah.
He also has co-produced and starred in an award-winning short film, and he's also a certified fitness trainer and kung fu instructor.
I told you, this dude is fucking Chuck.
Right.
His body is so sharp it can cut you. Like, you've got to look up a picture of this dude. His pec will slice you in half.
I don't know if you guys can see.
Look at him. He's beautiful.
Ignore my broken ass phone.
We're friends on Facebook. We've had very little interaction, probably because I'm like, this guy is too pretty and like way too far out of my league for me to even interact with.
So some of his
he's
other
beautiful
books,
and he's brilliant, and I am intimidated as fuck. So Andre Duza, if you do listen to this, please feel free to chat me up at any point in time, because I don't know that I'll ever have the balls to actually message you or comment on anything that you post.
He also wrote with Wrath James White.
Oh, yes, he did.
Son of a bitch.
Yes.
He wrote No Gig is Too Small.
Yes.
Technicolor Terrorist, Necro Sex Machine, Jesus Freaks.
So as soon as I finished Don't Bleep with the Coloreds, I went through, I legit added every single thing he's got available on Amazon to my TBR list.
Nice.
Because I was just so impressed with this book.
His covers very much remind me of Carlton Mellick III.
Yes.
Have you noticed that?
Yes. And I think they might be using the same artist, but he has a much different style from Mellick, which I really, really appreciate. He's far more in your face, and it's to me it's far more confrontational than CM3 tends to be. But I love when Bizarro authors are just like, the world sucks, people suck, everything sucks. Here's why, and I'm gonna spin it in a way where your brain is gonna be like completely just, you're gonna have to take off its heels. Yeah. And he's fantastic. He's fantastic. He does zombies. Yeah. He does zombies, girl. WZMB.
Yeah, saw that.
Yes.
Anything zombies, always.
Here. I've got I have this huge Andre Duza list.
Like anybody who reads a zombie book and they're like, I wish I knew someone who I could refer this to. Just always send it to me. Just jump into my DMs and be like, hey, I read a zombie book.
Yes.
About zombies.
His paperback Dead Bitch Army is now going for like over $22. I think because it's so rare. I need to get it.
Right. So I forgot to mention one, and that's RJ Benetti Spaghetti.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh,
I
it's coming up.
read, hold on, it's a long title, so I have to find it here. Small, short stories to read in one shitting. There's like 25 stories or poems. He has a poem about Hemingway. And Hemingway is one of my favorites. And I actually asked him if he is going to make like a poster out of it because I want it hanging on my wall. I love the poem that much. There's one about a kid who's hitting a piñata and the piñata are people. He's got one about, and I'm scratching my head as I say this, body cooties, but they're not what we're used to.
Oh my God. I had plans to read this tonight. Now I absolutely cannot wait.
Yeah. Literal is interesting. Twisted Up. The Last Moments of Hemingway is the poem, and Rundown is probably my favorite. And you'll know why.
I'm going to read it tonight and I'll get back to you on that one.
So yeah, I get it. It's Benetti Spaghetti. That's what my daughter calls him, Benetti Spaghetti. So.
We love you. We love you, Benetti Spaghetti.
Or as Dawn Shay calls him, Tinsel Tits.
Tinsel Tits!
Yep.
He has so many nicknames. I don't
does.
know anybody else in our friend group who has as many nicknames as Benetti does.
Mm-mm.
I call him Book Husband. Book Husband.
I'm just
Tinsel
like,
Tits,
hey.
Spaghetti Benetti. Now there's another kid here.
Kids. Shush.
All right. Well, should we get Frank in here?
I say we should because we have rattled on.
Oh, yeah. I think, we've been doing this a while. All right. Hang tight. We're going to go get Frank Edler. We'll be right back. We love you.
Finger
guys.
guns.
Finger guns. Hey. All right. Here we are. We're back. We told you we would be back. And now aren't you lucky? We're back. So before you came in, Frank, this is Frank. For those of you who aren't watching on YouTube, this guy right here, this is Frank Edler. Frank, Christina, and I were already discussing this before you came into the room, but we don't do well with daylight savings.
Okay.
And we are particularly unfunny today. So you're really going to have to carry the humor on this one. No pressure.
None.
Whatever.
Just none, you know.
Thank you for being here. Why don't you, we gave a little bit of an intro to you before you came in, but do you want to tell the people a little bit about yourself?
No, not really.
Okay.
Yeah, we get
Cool.
that a lot.
We really do.
We do. They're like, I would rather somebody else talk about me. I'm like, I don't think you want us to do that.
Well, I mean, Marian did say that you have a flux capacitor in your backyard.
I heard that you have a flux capacitor behind your house.
I can neither confirm nor deny that accusation.
I told you that I can't, you know, I told her, I said, I literally cannot deny this because you may.
And I told her that this is proof that I've just been right about everything I have said up to this point about everyone. I told you, Frank, we are not funny today. So this is really going to fall on you.
It really is. They're going to be like, Frank carried this show. And we're going to be like, thank God for Frank.
Yeah, they're going to be like, give this man his own podcast. And we're going to be like, he had his own podcast and then he stopped it.
We talked about that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to leave it up to you. You know, I couldn't hog up all the airwaves. So I just had to turn it over to you.
No, see, nobody wants this.
The mistakes were made.
Nobody wants this, Frank.
Everybody wants.
They want BIZZONGA. They got stuck with the Mothers of Mayhem.
No,
Like,
it's not like that at all.
This is he's so polite.
He is. He knows Christmas is coming up. He's smart.
I never wore the ears on BIZZONGA. No.
Yeah, that's true. She does have the ears.
I do have ears and a variety of amazing headbands.
She does.
Well, Frank,
Yes.
what we're gonna do, I like your finger ears. Oh, now there's 4 of them. Oh,
Yep.
shit.
Now he's a moose.
God
Now he's a
damn.
moose. If you're not watching this on YouTube, you're missing it all.
I know this yet again. This has become a very visual episode. We're gonna hit you with a little back and forth as far as questions go.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready as I'm gonna be.
Okay, perfect.
I respect that.
So I'll go first.
You go first.
Mr. Frank Edler,
Yes.
what was your first adventure in Bizarro, either reading or writing it? And what was it about that particular subgenre that made it feel like home for you? So I personally found it, I didn't know anything about it until I found you and Matt Clark. And my whole world just kind of exploded. And I found out that this is something that I absolutely adore. How did you find Bizarro?
So probably far too many years ago now, but it might even be over a decade ago now. Anyway, Brian Keene had just signed on with an outfit called Deadite Press, which I didn't know about. But certainly it got my interest peaked. Like, well, I like buying Brian Keene stuff, and now he's with this Deadite interesting thing. So I went, before he even had book published on there, he made the announcement, and I went to deaditepress.com. And one of the first books I saw when I visited the website was a book by Robert Devereaux titled Baby's First Book of Seriously Fucked Up Shit. Now, I mean, how could you not buy a book titled Baby's First Book of Seriously Fucked Up Shit?
Oh my God, I'm going to find it right now.
Yeah, purchased it just on title alone. Gotta have it. Expecting horror, right? It's Brian Keene. He signed on with this Deadite Press. Deadite, everything's horror. Get the book in my hands. Immediately started tearing into it. And it's a short story collection. The very first story in the book was a beauty pageant, but by like in vitro fetuses. So in vitro fetus beauty pageant, which is like, this is not really necessarily horror, like something's crazy going on. So after there were all kind of crazy ass stories like that in the book, and I'm like, well, that wasn't no kind of horror I've ever read before. So I went back to Deadeye, realized it's an imprint of Eraserhead, and then started looking at Eraserhead press books, and I'm like, oh, there's this whole Bizarro thing going on, and I just got my first dose of really not horror but Bizarro, and then I just fell down the rabbit hole from there, reading Carlton Mellett, Cameron Pierce. I mean, so many titles from there, and loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was so, what struck me about it is like, I'm never going to walk into a Barnes and Noble or my local library and find this on any shelf ever. This is like breaking the rules stuff, and nobody's going to want to like put this on their shelves. And like, I have to go to this Deadite Press or Eraserhead. Of course it was available, on Amazon, but who knew about it, right? So I just became a big champion of it. And to the tune of like, I really want to start talking about these books. Nobody's doing a podcast about Bizarre. Everybody's got a horror book podcast, interviewing authors or reviewing books. Nobody's doing this for Bizarre. Bizarre needs this. And that's why I started BIZZONGA and did that for 6+ years. And now I'm done. I just got tired. But man, I'm still a champion of that, all that crazy, weird stuff. And people often say I'm a Bizarro writer. I disagree a bit. I don't think I'm necessarily there with Bizarro. That's just because I don't think I'm writing true Bizarro. But everybody kind of disagrees with me, going like, look, your books are about, and I'm like, all right, fair enough. They are weird. I wrote Exploding Bears, right? That's not normal.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, here in Alaska.
I was gonna say, we live in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Exploding bears aren't really that far off from our
it's like a Tuesday
life
here,
experience, right?
It's like, oh, what was that sound? Oh, it's Tuesday. It's just an exploding bear. So
yeah,
it's just an average day on the Pennsylvania New Jersey
like,
border.
9 o'clock, right on cue.
Oh yeah, that must have been an exploding bear.
But it all started when I'll call it circa 2010. Robert Devereaux's Baby's First Buck of seriously fucked up shit. And yes, you should go Google it, buy it, read it.
I just added it to
Yep.
my Amazon wish list.
Great stuff.
It's in there now. Totally getting it.
My gateway to Bizarro.
Oh, heck yeah. I can't wait. I'm also liking the looks of Santa Claus Saves the World.
Great holiday read.
I'm
Fun for the
totally
whole family.
excited.
Fun for the whole family.
Thought the human centipede was bad.
Yeah.
I got that one. I haven't read it yet, but I'm like, how can you pass this up? Like, look at this, you know?
It's Bizarro. The titles, like so many of them just demand that you buy it on the title alone.
That's
Oh my God.
because my first Bizarro was Carlton Mellick, a girlfriend of mine at the time. She was like, have you read this guy? And I'm like, no. I mean, I read Bronte and Dickens. God, 2012 Christina is such a bitch bag. But anyway, so I found one called Baby Jesus Butt Plug
Yes.
and Razor Wire Pubic Hair. And that was my first taste of Bizarro with Carlton Mellick. And then I read one, and I don't have it with me, but it's Mr. Blankety Blank. Absolutely loved it. I forget who wrote it. It's downstairs because this is not my bedroom. So just so everybody knows, this is not my bedroom. I don't have Squidward on my walls. But yeah, that was my first like Bizarro was about 2012, 2011, something like that.
I'm so late to the party.
It's okay.
I'm late to the party with
always.
everything else. I'm late to the party with everything else in life.
Well, like the Bizarro podcast, it ran for 6 years. You had a ton of guests. We were going through the list. Like you had some pretty high caliber names, not just from within indie, but also mainstream. Like, is there anybody in particular that stands out as one of your more memorable guests? And why? What was it about them that made them?
I get that, I get that question actually a lot now that the show's over. And it's hard. It's hard to pick out any one particular guest that stood out among the others. Honestly, I've had Richard Chismar, Jeff Strand, like you said,
Yeah.
some big, and they were fun and great and everything. But for me, what I really loved was talking to like Matt Clark, sight unseen, and getting to know people like that. And especially when I started out the Zong, really, I was also starting out my writing career, quote unquote. So I was using it early on as like a writing school thing for me too. Like, how do I market these things? What are you doing with editing? Are we sharing similar experiences? And of course, 6 years on, I'd interview with Matt Clark, and now I had 6 years writing experience behind me, self-publishing and everything. And I find myself almost being a little like, being a bit of a mentor.
Sure.
Agree. So that was an odd shift, but years experience. And Matt Clark was a new guy, but you read the Mantis story, things have become or whatever the hell. It's a long time.
Yeah.
great fun. Guy that's like was fairly new. And like that was the type of stuff I really liked, because that's why I did Bizong. I wanted to promote people who would just never have the opportunity to, nobody's looking for Matt Clark, unfortunately, and people like that. So, I was like the little guy. The other thing about Bizong too is, keep about an hour long interview, 45 minutes to an hour. But so many times after we stopped recording, the conversation would continue off the record, and I'd have so many wonderful conversations with people that, just very personal for me. That was great. And that happened so many times. And just, the connections overall that I've made, not just networking, but just kind of friendships that developed from doing the podcast.
Sure.
Those are all the things like, hey, it was great that I got to talk to Richard Chismar, and any number of the bigger names. But really, I always liked talking to the person who I was the only one giving them that voice, that platform. That's what I enjoy most about doing a podcast.
Oh, I think we can totally relate to that. I don't know about you, Christina, but I feel that. So there are probably people listening now who never had a chance to listen to Bizong before you wrapped it all up. Just so they know, are there particular places where they can go to hit up the back catalog of episodes?
Well, you can always just Google Bizong. All the episodes are still up there, with the webpage and everything. That's probably the easiest way to do it. I still have a Bizong Facebook page, a Bizong Instagram,
YouTube,
Bizong Twitter, and I've just recently been like archiving older episodes over to YouTube. So that's happening slowly, but there's quite a number of episodes that I've moved over to YouTube as well. So you can find them there as well. So
Audible. They're on Audible as well. I found
Audible,
Audible, good.
Amazon Music, Spotify, your favorite.
I didn't realize that they were on Audible. And that's how because I just somehow I Googled it or something. And I was like, wait a second, it's on Audible. And you can literally see like your guest list. And it's pretty cool.
We are also on Audible, kids. So if that makes
you are we?
Oh, yes, we are, my lady. We most certainly are. So you can get both your favorite moms and the Bizarro King all in one place.
Mm-hmm. Boom. Thank you, Audible.
Two birds, one stone, no credits.
right.
You're not getting money from Audible if you play on the
Go for it, Christina.
All right. So Frank and I have recorded before, so we've talked some of these out, but these are my favorite questions that I ask. So I had to make sure everyone else hears them too. A death in Toledo. You know how much I loved that one.
Yep.
We're introduced to one of my favorite characters in any of your books, and that's Mr. Otis. He is, I like to say he's like the Walmart version of Sharon. You know what I mean? He's like the comfy, you can wear what you like type of guy, And if you listen or read the story, you'll get why I say that. So is there going to be more Otis? Because if not, I'm going to riot.
I love that you've honed in on Otis. And Otis, for as big a production as Christina's making that out to be, he's just like this really short-lived boom. He's for a tiny little, but he has a great part. And I loved the character to the tune of really when the audiobook was finished. And I was already kind of feeling this, but hearing Ron Gabaldon, who did the audio, hear him bring that character to life, I'm like, I'm already feeling this. But Otis needs his own story, I feel like. Because with any of my death books, Death Gets a Book, Death in Toledo, a couple other short stories hanging around, that was like my first book, The Death Gets a Book. And it was really a short story before that set the whole world off, called Death Gets a Life. And but so I always envisioned that world. Like I don't like series. I'm not big on reading series necessarily. So I never wanted to write a series, but I loved like the world and the concept of the character. And I'm like, this is great, because what I've created is not one Grim Reaper, it's a world of Grim Reaper. It's like the Santa Claus. There can't just be one Santa Claus. It's ridiculous. Right. So it's the same thing with Grim Reaper. There's just all Grim Reapers all over the world. And through that, I can tell all these death stories, because I can just hone in on different Grim Reapers and still make standalone stories, but yet continue telling stories in that world. So yes, Otis is in the stories, the deaths have to bring their souls to the river Styx, where then Charon comes up the Styx and escorts them down the river to the hereafter. That's the final leg of their journey. And in A Death in Toledo, I introduced the character of Otis, because it's like a thing you didn't know. And it's like Death's like, oh, I hope Otis shows up today. And here comes Otis down the river, and everybody, because Charon's all stiff and tight, just great. And here comes Otis. He's like, howdy, Death. How you doing? I just recently watched, and it struck me, like, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but really, I just watched Driving Miss Daisy the other day, and Otis is very much Morgan Freeman's character, like in Driving Hoke, you know? So he's got that sort of sensibility, just charming Southern old gentleman, you know? Just doesn't have a kind of hateful bone in his body, really. Just tries to be positive about everything. That is Otis. So to answer your question, yeah, I love this character, this idea of like the antithesis of what Chad is, and continuing on. And to take that concept of like keep playing in the world of deaths, I can even kind of shift more over to what's that journey on the river Styx to the final leg of the hereafter for the souls. And then we can discover that with Otis. So there's sort of an idea rumbling around the back of my head, like a working title of A Death in Otis, but I haven't put much of a pen to paper on it yet. But I have started putting pen to paper on a different death project.
Yes.
A Death at the Office.
Yes, that was one we're going to talk about. Yep.
All right. So I'll leave it there, but I have started moving forward, and I'm going to present that differently than Christina, how you originally found it.
How I know of it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take another one, Marian.
Oh yeah, that's
we're
fine.
We're going to roll into A Death at the Office, because the reason why we're talking about it like that is because it's on Kindle Vella.
Now, I have not explored Vella yet, so
well,
I'm not even
neither had
sure what it's all about.
So neither had I, but I had a chance to get like a $5 credit to Amazon if I check them out. So I'm on there and I'm derping, looking, and I had been doing research on Frank for our first interview, and one of them came up, and I was like, Frank Edler, there's no way. There's just it's another guy. And it's Death at the Office. And I was like, wait a goddamn minute. This is him. And so I immediately like instant messaged him, and I was like, is this you? And he's like, yeah, it's me. And he also has one called That Time I Hung Out with a Rock Star, which he tells stories about hanging out with rock stars. And it's all on Kindle Vella, free. And he started, it's like a series. It's like chapters, if you will. So go ahead. Sorry, I just totally fangirled about it. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So last summer 2021, I guess, Kindle launched this Kindle Vella thing, which is, you know, at the time, a lot of my writer friends were like, yeah, I'm going to try something out. It's supposed to be like, it's almost like Godless for Amazon.
Yeah.
It's like episodes, right? And I think you get the first, say, 3 episodes of any Vella story like for free, and then you have to have credits to like read, depending on the length of the thing, but they're all real short, right? And you might have credits to read through. Seemed like a cool concept, right? And you know, this is really kind of coming in just right behind Godless and everything. So I threw a couple of these death stories. I came up with this concept of Death at the Office, which is like, if you picture the television series The Office and then marry it with my concept of Grim Reapers, this is what you get.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Janitor and Mr. Death is the boss. So you know, I started writing these little episodes. Then there's only I don't know, 3 or 4, something stupid. And Kindle Vella. And then I also had Dirty Little Secret on the Rockstar. The time I hung out with a Rockstar, those stories are actually available on my blog, like free, and they've been up there for years. I was just trying to be sneaky and shoot them over there because I thought it would work on the platform.
No
sneakies.
I'll find it all.
Here's the deal. I don't want you to go to Kindle Vella. It's just not work. Christina, until you went there and found those things, nobody else had found them. They're just sitting there dormant, collecting dust. So they are going to get pulled off of, all that stuff is going to get pulled off of Kindle Vella. Like I said, the Rockstar stuff, those are just fun things. I had sort of at one point had an idea of making them a collection, but then I started putting them up on my, I just never had a great idea for them, and I never came up with a bunch of them. They're so much fun. I write like a story about the time I hung out with Motley Crue and I went on their tour bus and then Medusa came and attacked us. And then Nikki Sixx beat up Medusa, and then we just party like rock stars afterwards. So it's stories like that,
All true. All
yeah.
completely true.
All factual.
Everything he just said actually happened.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Ozzy pissed at the Alamo. Got banned. Well, you don't know this, but you got to read my story because I was there. Yeah, Ozzy pissed on the Alamo, but only because he was battling a freaking dust demon that was trying to attack the Alamo and level it. That's why he had to whip it out, piss the thing down.
Wow.
And so yeah, it's all there. It's all there.
Thank you for giving us the history that we need that we don't get.
Yeah, that's
all true nonfiction work.
Absolutely. The best of my recollection, that's what happened. So yeah, those are all that Vela stuff is going to go away because it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't make money. It seems like romance, or like everything else, romance writers have some success with it, but I just don't see it really working long term anyway for anybody.
Where do you think you might transition it over to? Godless? Will you still keep it episodic? Or...
Yeah, you just nailed it, Marian.
Yeah. Well, it seems like that's the best place to move something that's going to be like a series, right?
Right. Well, it doesn't take for me. I already have success on Godless. So
right.
Vela thing was sort of the same thing, and it's not working. We'll just take it all off of Vela. I'm going to give it to Juice Steptic. So that's the new project I am putting pen to paper on currently, is continuing those stories, Death in the Office. And I'm going to put them up as like 50-cent episodes like everybody else is doing there. And
awesome.
A bunch of those Death in the Office things at some point this year. And a few times a year have hopefully 2 or 3 episodes out on Godless, and just let that story exist that way on Godless.
Right.
So that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Drew, if you're watching, that's what's going to happen. I haven't told you.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, Drew.
So
FYI.
FYI, Drew.
Yeah.
Carrier. This is your carrier pigeon.
Spoiler alert.
It's so cleverly done because Death is my favorite character. I love anything to do with Death set in hell. And Brats in Hell, is one of them that you've done. I actually found out about you through Daniel Volpe because he was reading Brats in Hell. And I was like, wait a minute, I just saw the word hell. So of course, have to go to Audible. And then I'm like, oh, John Wayne Cominale does your book. Okay, then. So that was an instant
snagged and bagged, Frank.
Check
right there.
Just check all my boxes.
All you gotta do is the JWC, and she is
or hell, one or the other. That's how you get me going. Like, get me into it.
I bring the saucy and I bring the sexy. What else?
There you go. That's all I need, and a little bit of hell to go with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I found you, was because Daniel Volpe was, talking about, he was reading it. And I was like, that sounds really interesting and something different than, what I'm reading about, I don't know, shoving kittens up vaginas. I don't know what I was reading at the time.
That tracks.
But like, it tracks with a lot of guys we talked to. Like a lot of them. But it is, and that's how I found you. And now I just ordered the last of the standalones from you, because now I have every standalone you have done.
She has the full Edler collection.
I do.
The whole Pantheon. It's in a giant box somewhere in St. Louis right now, I guess.
Probably.
Everybody else can suck it.
But I get and we talked about this. With someone like Frank, I go to that when I'm having a bad day and I need something that's going to make me laugh, or just something that's going to, kind of calm me. Because like Death in Toledo and Death Gets a Book, like they're hilarious, but they're so calming because it's not gore, it's not splatterpunk, it's not, obviously people die because it's death, but it's done in such a way that you get that calmness from it. And so that's why I had to have all of them, was because
light and lively horror.
It is. It is. That's
Yeah.
It makes you happy to read it. Like, because it was funny. I was looking for something to read yesterday, and I was like, I need my Edler books. Because you could just pick it up, read a couple pages, and then you have that like serotonin dopamine going on, and you're like, okay, I'm good. Okay. Back to the kittens and vaginas.
You didn't hear that, how?
I'm sorry, how. I apologize.
How dare you?
It's a bad day to be a cat, I guess. All right, Miss Marian, your turn, since I've taken like all my questions already. Sorry.
Speaking of cats.
Yes.
Your books feature all kinds of characters, from like the crypto historian cat to the exploding bears to a barbecue fanatic Satan to, of course, the multitude of incarnations of death. So where can you explain the inspirational process behind the conception of these characters and these concepts? Where does this come from?
I wish I could tell you anything other than, I don't know, it just fucking popped in there. Oftentimes my stuff comes from, like, the title occurs to me, like Death Gets a Book, like, because I said I wrote that short story, Death Gets a Life, and I'm like, well, it's time for me to really put this, everybody liked that short story. I'm like, well, this is the story I need to keep telling for a longer version. Like, I don't know. So what do I write? Death Gets, a book. He's getting a book. He's getting his whole book. He's getting his full-length book. Death Gets a Book. I have no idea what that is, but I just start writing, and it kind of turns out literal. A guy dies, turns into Grim Reaper. He gets handed the instruction manual. He's like, that's his on-the-job training, is like, here's the book. Go figure it out. Sort of the rub of the whole story is he's trying to figure out the job. He's just shoved into it. And he's just got this book to go by.
The handbook.
Or like that, like, right? Like Beetlejuice, like,
the handbook for the recently deceased.
Right.
Yeah, sort of same idea. Again, Brats in Hell, the title that occurred to me. Double entendre, bratwursts and just bratty ass demons. Didn't know what that story was until I started writing. What the hell is this weird thing that's been popping in my head, Brats in Hell? And I'm like, well, they're fighting for control of hell with bratwurst. Like, I don't know where that fucking comes from. That's the way my mind works. But yeah, it often does come from like the title coming first. For Scatterbrain, that was like, all right, I've tackled Grim Reapers, I've tackled demons. I don't want to do wolves. I don't want to do vampire. I don't want to do the normals. Like, what can I do? And I'm like, oh, like B-movie. Like, remember this old black and white Killer Brain type of movie? Let's do a Killer Brain book. And with that sensibility, and I'm like, so what's Scatterbrain? It's a Frank Edler sounding title. What do we do with this? And it's create a city of Scatterbrain, aliens or whatever the hell he is. He's just a killer brain. But kind of tell it from the monster side of things. They're menacing killer brains eating the citizens of the city, but you kind of got a feel for him because he's just a killer brain is what he does. That's sort of the conceit of Scatterbrain. And then back to the well with with the Death in Toledo. Catcoin came about just because I started researching and falling in love with this. I almost thought it was like a romantic concept of this cryptocurrency and everything. I really dug the idea behind it and was just watching lots of documentaries, reading tons of shit on it. And
I just saw your TikTok where you were dropping copies of Catcoin in the free little libraries, free libraries around New Jersey. I was like, yeah, corrupt the children, Frank.
Yeah, I wrote that book just because, as much of this like factual nonfiction shit I was reading, I'm like, I want to read a story like about cryptocurrency. Like, and there wasn't a story out there that was just like a cryptocurrency like thriller or anything. So I was like, well, I guess I got to write this book, and that's Catcoin came about. It's like literally the history of Bitcoin, but with cats is
I love it.
It's so good. I listened to it on Audible, and it was his narrator is amazing. He really knows how to bring it to life. It's Ron. What is it?
Ron
Gabaldon.
Yeah,
Ron Gabaldon.
He's so good. So good.
I found it quite by accident, like when the pandemic was hitting, and I had resisted doing the audiobooks for a while. They can be really expensive to get produced and everything, and rate of return, God only knows. But when the pandemic hit, there was a sort of I felt there would be a glut of voice talent, kind of. I'm stuck home now, so I got there and I found Ron on the cheap. Really, Death Gets a Book was his first audiobook, but he is an actor. He does small local theater and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so he's definitely got the talent for it and everything. And I held auditions. He was the one that kind of spoke to me for the comedic tone of those books, and hired him. And he was giddy to be working for it, getting his foot in the door. And he's like asking me, "Oh, what does this guy sound like?" I'm like, I don't know.
Whatever you think he sounds like. You tell me.
I'm gonna defer to you for a lot of it. He's hitting home runs, just kind of nailing the voices of different characters that I'd never even really considered. So yeah, it was quite easy for me to go back to him several times. And of course, I did have John Wayne. He was same thing. He was trying to get into audiobooks, and I'm like, he's perfect for Brats in Hell. He is perfect for it. He's got a different tone than Ron Gabaldon, and I don't think Ron would have been able to pull it off.
Hunting me.
No. She was like, mute. Well, sometimes, like, you're right. The vibe, you need a narrator who's really going to sell the vibe of the book, and not everybody fits the tone in that just right way.
Yeah. And when I approached John Wayne about it after a BIZZONGA interview, one of those we're talking after an interview deals, and I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking about having it. He goes, I love that book. And I was like, well, would you want to do it? Because I kind of think actually you'd be good. He's like, absolutely. So it was just, it was like that sort of impromptu thing set up after a BIZZONGA interview. And again, he just nailed it good. And yeah, I've been happy with with the audiobooks I've had done. Again, Ron Gabaldon's done 3 of them. He's done the 2 Death books and then Catcoin. And then I don't know, from there, I can't say these things are making bank for me or anything like that. So I'm not in a rush to get them done, but I have a really good working relationship with Ron Gabaldon. So more will probably be done by him at some point, but I'm not rushing to get them done so much.
Do you have a full-time day job on top of everything that you do within the literary fiction communities?
I do. Unfortunately.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I kind of packed up on the BIZZONGA is just like I said, when I started BIZZONGA 6 years ago, plus my kids were 7, 8 years old, 6 years on now, they're teenagers.
Oh.
Kids to the mall, and there's just more demand on me, family stuff. It's not like they're just watching SpongeBob in the corner and
right.
Time to myself. I got less time to myself. So, and of course, full-time job, because I do have to eat and keep a roof over my head.
Damn it.
Well, to write some books. Yeah.
Freaking kids.
Yeah.
I got one in kindergarten and one graduating high school this year.
Oh,
so.
Yeah.
I got one throwing a tantrum because she can't watch TV.
Oh, I can hear her.
Can you hear that?
Yeah,
that's
I love it.
So I'm all the way upstairs, and you have to go like down the hallway, down 2 flights of stairs, and then all the way into the living room. So this is not like, my house is not small. This is a huge fucking house. And that's what you hear. She is so far away. So yeah, that's fun for him, sucker. I'm busy doing professional things.
Well, he was just telling me all about his audio books. I wish I knew how to get into that, because I would love to read audiobooks. That would be so cool. I'm gonna have to ask JWC about that when I see him in a couple weeks. How do I do this, bruh? Anyway, you want to ask you one of your other questions?
Done. I'm out. I've done all my questions.
Are you sure?
I am. Because we talked about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. All right. Well, Saris is about to burn Christina's house down. So we're going to take a quick break, give all of our love to Godless, and we'll be right back.
Hey kids, looking for a way to affordably access the best and wildest independent extreme horror currently in existence? Godless Horrors is the place to be. Go to www.godless.com to gain access to thousands of extreme horror and splatterpunk books from the genre's best and brightest independent authors. Godless Horrors offers every title in their catalog in a variety of formats to ensure compatibility with your favorite digital reading device. Strapped for cash? No worries. Godless has a fantastic collection of free titles ready for instant download, with other titles in their collection rarely exceeding $3 to $4. Again, go to www.godless.com or download the app and tell them what the fuck you're looking for. Come join the Godless tribe today. Forever delightfully deviant. Forever godless.
That's what we have left. 3 years, 5 months.
3 years, 5 months until this hell that I call life comes to an end.
Or at least our Michael's Alaskan PCS.
If you're in Alaska and you're listening, we don't include you in that encapsulation of what Alaskan hell is, because we love you and we don't want you to stop listening.
I don't know if we have any Alaskan viewers besides me.
And you never know. All right,
And
it's time.
And I don't watch the show half the time.
Even Christina doesn't listen to this show, so great job. But you feel real good about being here today, Frank Edler.
I'll watch Friends.
So it is time for the rapid fire 4 questions. Christina,
What?
it's your line.
I'm
We've only done this 15 fucking times.
whoopsie. 4 questions, 4 answers, 0 time to answer.
If you give us an answer that we don't like, you will be forced to surrender your flux capacitator to me, and I will meet you halfway for the trade-off. We can meet at a police station somewhere.
Fair enough.
Nice. That's really nice. You're like,
Yeah, I don't want
you're
you
going to give it
feel-
to me, but I'm going to help you out. And I think that's
Yeah, like,
sharing
I
is
don't want
caring.
him. I don't want him to feel unsafe.
Gas prices
because
are crazy.
I know. We need to share the burden on that. And I don't want you to feel unsafe. So we can definitely meet at a police. We can meet
Unsafe with
we
Marian.
can meet in New Hope. It'll be fine.
Nice.
Like that. All right.
Okay.
First question.
All right, let's go.
Which of your characters do you identify with the most and why?
Oh, I guess Death, he's most whatever Death it is sort of most my voice. So yeah, and Death pays the bills. So I identify with Death.
Nice.
is there any other literary genre that you would be interested in trying?
Yes, I would love to try like crime thrillers.
Ooh.
Yeah, but like fun ones. There's a writer, I don't know if you're aware of him, Tim Dorsey. He writes like Florida crime fiction, but it's like funny, like Carl Hyacin. I think he's funnier than even Carl
Like
Hyacin.
Florida man crime fiction?
Yeah, very much so.
Holy
Like that.
shit.
It's great fun. I always try to read a couple of Tim Dorsey books a year. He's got tons of them. And I would love to like do my version of Tim Dorsey, but like with Jersey guy, instead of Florida man, Jersey guy, crime fiction. I don't know what that looks like, but I would love to try my hand at that someday.
Oh my God, these look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap. I'm going to have to get into that.
Absolutely. Third Storms, great, funny ass books.
Oh, awesome. Okay, Christina, go ahead.
So next one is, what is your favorite story you have written?
My favorite story of everything I have done is Brats in Hell. I was, when I'm selling my books out there, and usually you'll have somebody come up, well, what's your favorite? And a lot of writers are like, oh, I love them all, or I'm like, no, Brats in Hell was my favorite book to write. I love the hell out of that story. Because I'm so like divorced from actually having written it. Going back and like hearing things like the audiobook, like I laugh at my own shit, and I think that's like
we do that all the time.
Yeah, I forgot like I had some jokes I read. I'm like, that's fucking hysterical. This guy's brilliant.
This guy's pretty legit.
I'm a fucking genius.
I'm a gem.
Absolutely, my favorite too.
So is that why you love it so much? You just go back and you read it and you're like, God damn, I have never been funnier than when I wrote this book.
I don't, that was the fun part of like doing any of the audiobooks, because I'd done them years later, the audiobooks, and I'm like, all right, here's the book, you read it and get back to me. And stuff like the Death Gets a Book with the opening scene at the Donkey Show in Tijuana. I was rolling listening to Ron Gabaldon read that chapter, and I was like, because I write it, I put it out there, I go through it X amount of times editing, and that book is like 8 years old now, so like I've written so much stuff after, you just forget, you don't remember everything you wrote, so it almost is like experiencing it again for the first time after you've had that divorce of time from it. So yeah, I was just laughing at so much of this stuff, Brats in Hell and the death books, because I hadn't heard that stuff in a while, and again I forget it, and I'm kind of laughing at some of these jokes. Must be good because I'm making myself laugh at my own shit.
Right,
that's
the Tijuana Donkey Show.
When you watch like Saturday Night Live or any like sketch comedy stuff, and they can't keep a straight face.
Oh, it's the best.
It's the best. And so like me, like that's my own, like I can't keep a straight face in my own skit type of a moment. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Now, if you could co-author with anyone living or dead, who would it be and why?
I've co-authored several things. Armand Rosamilia, we wrote a called the Shocker Trilogy.
I read them all in like one day.
Yeah. Well,
it was like almost 800 pages. I did it in like 24 hours.
Yeah. It's it's candy, but it was a lot of fun.
So good.
Yeah. And I've also, again, with Armand Rosamilia and Tim Meyer and Chuck Buda, we have done these two what we call Beers and Fears books. They sort of a collaboration, but we each like wrote our own story. It was a little different. So I've had some collaborations before. I haven't approached him or anything, but it's kind of been mentioned, I think, a few times, like me and Matt Clark might be a good no.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah.
So Matt Clark.
Matthew.
Hi, baby.
Getting
Clark.
Getting his DMs.
We're coming from McCarty and Hawk, right?
Yes.
So,
do it.
Yeah.
We're super offended. McCarty did your show and yet refuses to appear on ours.
What?
And that's okay because he just
no, Christina. It's not okay.
It is 100%.
Considering
okay.
the stuff that this man writes He can't say I'm not comfortable with anything.
Yes, he can. People have anxiety. Like,
Look, I have anxiety. I just ripped the hell out of my thumb for no reason.
but yes, we are going. Well, I will be doing a written interview with Simon, and I'm taking some questions from when you interviewed him. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
I know he's not comfortable or whatever, and I guess the camera makes it a little more difficult to do. Maybe
Aw.
you should go down the Aaron Beauregard route and put a beans and rice mask over his face or something.
Right. Well, that's what we
Yeah.
do with Ash.
Yeah.
We do that with Ash. And I don't know if Rain have it because she's going to be on the program. I don't know if she's going to be wearing a mask or if she's just going to be black screen. Either way, doesn't matter.
Nope.
And
Yes,
the written,
no, we respect it.
some respected more than others.
I get it.
But I think you and Matt Clark, I think would be
Brilliant.
I would probably
amazing.
Fucking brilliant.
Because we had Matt Clark on, him and Hawker were our first guests.
I know.
And he's so much fun. He's so much fun. So I think he's going to be very excited to hear
Yeah.
who you would like to
I'm not going to
co-author with.
approach him on, this is the only invitation I'm giving you, Matt Clark, right here. If you don't listen to this, you snooze, you lose, and we're not going to take over the world. You have-
Well,
Well, you know, somebody might just be like, "Hey, Matt, you need to watch this episode." I'm just saying. I can't give you any deets,
right.
but you
But
should
if I
probably
can't-
listen
If I
to this.
can't get Matt Clark, I think I would love to try writing with Jeff Strand. I love his work and horror comedy, but very different from me.
Oh yeah, he did the Next Best Baker in Baker's Dozen,
Yeah.
and I was like, but it was so funny
Yeah, he
that
can.
you're just like,
He leans more into the horror aspect than I.
mhm.
So yeah, he's interesting. I would love to like get more horror-y, but I'm always my stuff is so cartoony and goofy and
Yes,
it's fun.
but it's
I'm comfortable. I
yeah,
would be Jeff Strand, Jeff Strand writes Jeff Strand.
right.
But I would like to maybe go that way a little more sometimes, something like I think Brats in Hell is maybe a little closer to something what Strand does, but Strand can write straight horror that isn't
Mhm.
too. So yeah, it'd be kind of fun to get a Jeff Strand, but I don't ever expect that to happen.
That would be
Matt
pretty
Clark,
rad.
Matt Clark, he's low rent. I can get him like that.
low rent. Matthew Clark, you did not just hear that.
But I mean, like,
I'm trying to negotiate a contract. here.
I like this. He's like, I'm trying to make it where it's something I can do
I'm
here.
doing my best. Well, Frank, all of those answers were unacceptable. So I will be meeting you somewhere
Sorry.
along the border of Jersey and Pennsylvania to obtain that flux capacitor
Hope
at your earliest convenience. Thank you very much.
we could shop for
Sorry.
crystals in New Hope.
I don't know any of this.
So thank you so much for coming
you.
and hanging out with us and having us put you through this torture gauntlet for
Yeah.
a second time.
Yeah.
Please take the opportunity now, hype up anything that you've got dropping soon. Let the people know what's your preferred place to have them purchase from you. Amazon, Godless, is there somewhere else? And if they would like to contact you directly, where is the best place for them to do so if you are comfortable with that level of communication?
Yeah, I'm comfortable.
Oh yeah.
I'm no Simon McCarty. I'm a whore. Come get me. Obviously, Facebook. You can find me, Frank Edler. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok.
Yeah.
So yeah, all the like usual places, and just search. If you're not searching Frank Edler, search Mr. Frank. Often my handle is that on those things. I'm easily found there on the social medias. But buying my stuff, of course, most of my stuff is up on Amazon Kindle Unlimited if you got that kind of thing. I'll always be happy to sell anybody a physical signed copy of my book. Reach out to me, Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Just hey, and it's always like, listen, I'm pretty good. Like $10 a book, 3 for $25. I mean, you're not going to get much of a better deal than that. And in the end, it's cheaper than Amazon anyway after all the shipping nonsense. So get at me, just reach out. I don't bite. Contact me. I'll get you some books. No problem. Stickers, bookmarks. I make it fun, you know. Even
We
got
love the swag.
I know I got
Yes.
songs I got
Suckers
to get
for
rid of too. So yeah, so that's all the ways you can get my stuff. Of course, I do have exclusive stuff on Godless. The shock box is up there, the aforementioned shock block. I wish people would read it. The Mutants of Mugwump was a great collaboration. Not a lot of people are buying it. Check out the Mutants of Mugwump. It's the most craziest ass thing.
That was with Lucas, right?
Lucas, myself,
Lucas Milliron.
Amelia, a stripper by the name of Aaron Lewis, and Jay Wilbur.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just childish, awful, but it's so much fun.
It's my favorite.
And of course, I got Scared Silly, Uncomfortable Shorts up there, which as far as ebook goes is the only place you can get those. I'll sell you paperbacks, but the only place you're going to get digital versions of those 2 short story collections is on Godless. So shop for me on Godless. And of course, I'm going to be having those Death at the Office stories coming out on Godless in the next forthcoming months. So keep an eye out for them as well. Love Drew Stepik, love Godless, and I want to do a lot of stuff to keep supporting that platform.
Are you coming to AuthorCon in Williamsburg?
I'm not going to be at all. Unfortunately, that day job I have, I'm in high demand in the spring. But I will be at Scares at Care in August, the regular Scares at Care charity weekend. I will be down there tabling with my friend JC Walsh.
Okay.
I've done several Scares at Care. I love that event. And, last 2 years we couldn't get there.
Yeah.
Pandemic-y stuff. So looking forward to my triumphant return down to Scares at Care in Virginia. But unfortunately, I can't make AuthorCon this year.
We forgive you.
Given. And don't forget, you can find him on Audible. They have Death Gets a Book, State of Poor Illinois, Catcoin, Fraughts in Hell, and A Death in Toledo are all on Audible.
Yeah, don't buy those State of Horror things. I don't get paid for them. Fuck that guy.
Oh, well then, good thing I didn't buy. That's the only one I haven't got.
It's a good. You should if you got. I don't have free codes for that. Like if anybody wants to check out my book, I got free codes. Like seriously, if you want to check out an audiobook and you're listening to Mom, again, reach out to me. I got free audiobook codes. I will give them to you. You just got to review it for me. That's like the rub, right? So after you listen to them,
and I mean it's
a
super
fair
easy.
trade.
Yeah,
especially because I honestly can't even give my favorite of the 4 because they're all so well done.
Yeah.
So it just kind of is going to depend on what you like. But if I was to do, I would say Death Gets a Book because the donkey show scene is brilliant.
it's my best-selling book of anything. Like it's just
Really,
everybody goes for that first. Like if you like that, you'll like everything else.
yes.
I understand why everybody leans into it, the most, and that's fine. So yeah, feel free to start there. But again, with the death stuff, you could start Death in the Toledo. It's not
without a doubt.
affect one way or the other.
Yeah, because I mean, it doesn't. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was going to say we will make sure that we add information on Frank's full bibliography in today's show notes. And you can also come join all 3 of us in the official Mothers of Mayhem Facebook group. You can reach Frank there. You can, of course, always touch base with me and Christina. We are hyper active on that Facebook group. I don't know of many other podcast hosts who are as active on their social media platform as we are with our community, but you can always find the links to our various social media accounts in our show bio. You can send your questions, comments, concerns, insults, as always, to momextremepodcast@gmail.com. That is m.o.m. extremepodcast@gmail.com. Do not forget to send dildos to Christina. DM me if you need her mailing address.
But if you're on Team Christina, send pictures of Zak Bagans to Marian.
Fuck you.
So she's gonna love it. Swear.
I honestly cannot think of anything more horrible than receiving hundreds of pictures of Zak Bagans. Why do you want to hurt me like that?
Because I am a hateful bitch.
Frank, I'm sorry if you have any level of appreciation for Zak Bagans. I'm gonna punch him in his stupid punchable face.
Who even is that guy?
See, I had.
You all want to know? He's the host.
Some ghost hunter.
Ghost Adventures, and I fucking hate him.
Adventures.
He's the prick that bought up all the Warrens haunted stuff. And now he has like the Museum of Haunted Shit. He's a fucking fraud. But I fucking hate his stupid ass face.
I love him.
Wrote a book. It's not, I'm shopping it, right? It's specifically written because of those ghost hunting shows that they drive me nuts, right? So I very definitely wrote a book like that's poking fun of all that ghost hunting television show and stuff. I'm trying to shop it. I forgot even what it's called. I forgot what the hell it's called. Anyway, I wrote it and I'm hoping to sell that and get it out into the world.
If I was a publisher, I would definitely publish that. But I would make sure that whoever the worst character is in that book, that you change their name to Zak Bagans.
Zak Bagans.
Zak Bagans. Because it's definitely not Zak Bagans that you're talking about.
It's called The Haunted Hamburger House.
Oh, The Haunted Hamburger House.
Yes, that's.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Yeah.
I hope you sent that one to Planet Bizarro.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
No,
That's Matt Clark.
That's Matt Clark.
That's Matt Clark's. I don't know if it's weird enough for him, but I do have it shopped around a couple places at the moment. I'm just waiting to hear back. But I also, while I'm bringing it up, I forgot in November, it's a long ways away, but in November, I have my first not self-published book coming out with D&T.
Oh, yeah.
Titled, you ready for this one?
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful.
Reggie Rat's Birthday Fun Center and Same Day Outpatient Care Facility.
Oh my God, please throw me a bone. Tell me a little bit about this, because
I want to know about Reggie Rat. So as a horror writer, quote unquote horror writer, you always get asked like what scares you, right? And now it's always like, I don't know, what really scares me. I'm a grown man, right? But I did have some time to think about that. I needed an answer for this question, and I came up on the spot at a birthday party I attended, a children's birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. And I was like, oh, I know what I'm scared of. I'm scared of fucking Chuck E. Cheese. And there's another thing I'm scared of in real life. Really, I'm scared shitless. I never want this to happen to me. I've seen people go through it. Looks like the worse than labor is kidney stones. I've seen people suffer through kidney. It looks like I would rather give birth to triplets than try to pass a kidney stone, just based on what I've seen people go through. So the two things I'm scared of is Chuck E. Cheese and kidney stones. And I wrote a book about that. And that is Reggie Fun Center and Same Day Outpatient Care Facility.
Amazing. You know, I'm vibing with this on a very personal level, because demonic animatronics are one of my favorite things in the world. My son is obsessed with Five Nights at Freddy's, which are, of course, murder animatronics. And when I was pregnant with my son, guess what I had? Kidney stones.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
Never before then and never after. But this boy has been nothing but pain.
And suffering.
Since his
Suffering.
I love you, Clarky. But yes, already. Did you see Willy's Wonderland?
Yes.
With Nick Cage?
Yes.
It's like comfort viewing for me. I watch it whenever I need to just like zone out of the world, because I fucking love it.
I actually wrote the book before watching that. Of course, I've been exposed to Five Nights at Freddy, and my concern was I'm ripping that off.
No.
That's why I added the other aspect to it, to just ramp it up. But yeah, Wonderland is amazing. Like, I got through 3/4 of the movie. I'm like, I don't think Nicolas Cage has said a word.
No. Not
word
a
of the
single
movie.
word the whole movie. I fucking love it. It's so good.
I've not seen it.
Oh,
seen that
girl,
one.
it's free on Hulu. You've got to watch it. It is fan-friggin-tastic. It's fantastic.
I'll have to check it out.
Oh, well, as always, before we wrap it up here, we want to give a huge thank you to Amigo the Devil, Danny, for allowing us to use his song Hungover in Jonestown as our theme. As always, please, I am, as of now, by the time you hear this, we probably will for at least 3 or 4 weeks have playlists, music playlists available. There are ultimate mom fan community reading soundtracks for every genre you could possibly imagine, including Bizarro. Quite a few songs that I ripped off of Frank Edler's TikToks because he always uses the best background music, and I've discovered a lot of music through him. So there are a lot of Frank Edler finds on the Bizarro reading soundtrack. But also there is a lot of Amigo the Devil, because he just, if there is one musician who matches the vibe of this community, it is him. Please check him out. And so once more, thank you, Frank. We love you.
It's been such a treat. I got to do this twice. This is like
You did.
I
And
hope.
we'll probably bring you back next
I
season.
know. I was gonna say. I hope everything gets wrecked in the audio and everything. And we have to do it again.
There you go. Just a constant
come back in
weekly sessions.
I
Yeah.
can
Weekly
make this
sessions with Frank.
happen. So until next time, go raise some fucking hell, children.
Make your book mummies proud.
Okay, bye-bye.
I know.
Life is a joke, and death is the punchline. Oh, la, 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 la. Life is a joke, and death is the punchline. Oh, la, 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 la. This life is a joke, and death is the punchline. The punchline.